definitely one of the most social places in our community
Right.
where you can come and get information, and you get that information, and we knew that. So we had two. We had the bookstore and we had the barbershop. But like I
Right.
said, we can hold you in that bookstore and that barbershop. We can get you downstairs to go get some books.
Yeah.
Dr. Francis Cress Wells and blah 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 blah.
Right.
Oh yeah, ISIS papers. We got that downstairs. And then,
Yeah.
so it was all a part of, what I mean. So then after a while, somebody been coming for a minute, like, man, what I gotta do to join y'all
Right.
organization? Y'all, man, I really like what y'all doing.
Yeah.
Y'all doing a lot, Man, we had it, we educated so many people, so many young people. Some people would come in here and be quiet. You never even know that they was listening. And one time we had a lecture with Ray Haysbert and James Klingman, Jim Klingman, and Sunyata came up to me, brother Sunyata. He was one of the co-owners at the time, and he said, "Man, you wouldn't believe who gave us some money, who left something for us. The guy, he was leaving town, never talked anything. This real mild mannered person. He said, man, look, he wrote us a check for $1,000. You know what I'm saying? And said, man, I hope y'all be successful, because he was moving to a whole nother state
Okay.
somewhere far. And he wrote us a check for $1,000. Man, I love what y'all do. I know I never participated in nothing, but I always come in there because I love what y'all do.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. It was like $1,000,
Right. Right.
so you
Never know
know,
who listening
man, like
and
all through the
watching.
years and watching, yeah, all through the years, young people who I see, man, y'all ain't know, man, the stuff that y'all was saying was elevated. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing now. That's why I do
Yeah.
this. That's why I do that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, inspiring people, that's what we want to do.
Right. Shoot. Nipsey Hussle say that like it's one of the highest human acts is to inspire.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's big.
yeah. That's what motivate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I hear you talk about how like your shop went out of business and you came back to the location. You think you can talk about that?
Yeah, man. It was a dark time in my life. I mean, it's been, pretty hard times in my life. You know what I mean? Not a lot, not a lot, but that was a dark time in my life. It was like things just wasn't working out. There was a guy I owned this building early on, and I wound up getting in some trouble, and I had to sell it to him. So through the years, I lasted like another 6 or 7 years. Me and the brothers, actually my brother Suniata, who was my first apprentice barber, who's now the master barber and the shop owner. Him and another brother. I mean, we had some things going on, and they wound up leaving and opening up their own shop. A couple other people left. You know what I mean? I wasn't really cutting hair like that during the time, and then I had to come back, and we struggled. We struggled to get people in the door. We didn't have the barbers. We didn't have a lot of the stylists and all. You know what I mean? It lasted like another 6 years or so. You know what I'm saying? Once they left, and then it's like, with the owner, because he only did this to hold it down for me so I can buy my building back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when it happened like that, what I mean? I went to him. I said, look, I know you've been trying to do this for me, but you gotta do
Yeah.
what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Stuff ain't coming out. I don't know why it's not falling the way it's supposed to fall,
Right.
but it's just not. So eventually, he didn't still want to do it, but then he was like, "All right, look, I got to do what I got to do." I left for 2 years, and the surprising thing was when I left from here, I went to work at one place, and it was I'd never been in another place before besides Conscious Heads. Oh well, I had been at True Cuts. Yeah,
True.
it was the
Okay.
same thing. So I was just trying to figure out um what I was gonna do. But Brother Sunyata had called me and said, "Look, man, I know we got some things going on, but if you need somewhere to work, come with me." And I'm like, "Nah, man, nah, I ain't doing that, man. You my
Yeah.
student, you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
plus, you know what I mean. We got this little thing going on or whatever." So I
Yeah.
went to work in this shop probably like a few days later, and man, I sat down. They had some crazy video on. Some children was in there, and I'm like, "Man, what the heck is this?" You know what I'm saying? So I got up. Somebody called my phone. I walked out the door. I stood outside. Then I went and got in my car. Then I drove down to my house. It wasn't that far away from it. And then I said, man, I'm never going back there again. I called Brother Sunyata, like, hey, look, you still got that spot available, man. You know what I mean? Because I knew that, coming out of Conscious Heads, that,
Right.
that was a child of
Right.
Conscious Heads. You feel what I'm saying? So I can go in there and I can work there and I will
Right.
be comfortable. And I was comfortable, even though we had like little vibe there,
Yeah.
but it wasn't, but nothing happened. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
was all good. It wasn't no beef, nothing like that. You know what I'm saying? But, it was cool. I had to humble myself because now I got, but now during that time, man, I was going through divorce. I lost my shop. Then my cars got repoed, lost property. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a crazy time in my life, but I never stopped. I never stopped during that time. We was doing Watoto from the Nile with my daughters. I was doing kale chips during that time. You know what I mean? Where we still came up with this kale chip recipe. So I still never stopped, even though it was a dark time in my life and things
Right.
was going on. So yeah, it went out of shop, completely stripped this whole building down. I mean, nothing was left in here besides, the floor and the walls and stuff like that. Anything on that was attached to those walls, like exit
Right.
signs, all of that kind of stuff,
Coming out.
gone, gone.
Dang.
Everything stripped clean, went out of
Dang.
business. Out of business.
Dang. So when you came back, obviously you came back.
Yeah.
So, but how did you get the money?
So the guy who owned the spot, he was unable to sell it.
Okay.
The opportunity came back around. And we met. It was like, you want to try to do this again? At first, I was like, nah, because I was still hurt from losing all my stuff from before.
Yeah.
So I'm like, man, I lost everything. Nah, nah, I ain't feeling this. And so then it was just kind of like the brothers had decided around the corner, brother Suniata and Dwelly, that they was going to leave and they was going somewhere else. And then I thought about, I said, man, I don't want to go nowhere else. You know what? The opportunity presented itself. I'm going back home. I'm going back to the headquarters. Mind you, again, I didn't have a dime, bro. I had just lost everything. But luckily, you know what I'm saying? I had, like I said, again, I had a beautiful mom who had recently had moved back with me, or
Right.
moved back home with me. And she said, hey, look, you go work and build that shop back up. Don't worry about paying no bills here right now.
Mm.
So I didn't have to worry about
Yeah.
paying bills at my house at the time. She allowed me to be able to put
Yeah.
every dime that I
Pour in.
had
Yeah.
here. So between that, doing my events, the lectures and all, I was able to pull off some great lectures during that time, you know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then I made a list of 35 people that I went to them. Hey, can you loan me 200, 500? Can you loan me 1,000? Do you got, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I made a list and I ended up doing it that way. I raised about $5,000,
Mm.
you know what I mean? Just from making a list of people of my friends and my family. And like, hey,
Okay.
look, I'm trying to go back. We came in here, we had two chairs, me and just two barbers and one stylist. And then one of the barbers bought us a TV. Then we had a TV. You know what I mean? Then somebody else bought, you know what I mean, and sold us a radio for cheap. But then we had a radio, and then the mirrors. We didn't have the mirrors on the other side. Somebody, you know what I mean, and then we started to, raise funds. But then I finally put together the barber and boot camp. And when I put together the barber and boot camp, that was the thing that actually really took things over the top.
Okay.
It was like I tried it out, you know what I mean? It worked okay. And then I made the necessary adjustments to it. And then it wound up doing great. It started doing some great things. Not making a whole lot of money from it, but it was like, okay, all right. So I wound up, hooking up several classes and man, you know what I'm saying? And so, we were here, we started the money just started to come, people started to come, more barbers, the energy just started to change, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, for me. You know what I'm saying? It was like, and that's why I can't people can't tell me nothing about what things look like because I built this. Like if you looked at it on numbers and like you would look at me and be
Right.
like, Jabari, you ain't got no money, bro.
Right.
how
Yeah.
you gonna build
It's
how you gonna build this up? You don't, bro. It don't make sense. Like on paper, look, bro, you this negative, you don't in your bank account, you ain't got no money. You don't have this, you know what I'm saying? And so that never scared me, especially when I locked down. I was like, I'm
right.
back and I'm building this back up. I built the barber and boot camp as a protection, not something that Madam CJ Walker and Annie Malone, was that Annie Malone? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah,
Animal.
Annie Malone would build. They trained up stylists and they
Yeah.
trained up those their own. So my thing was, if I can train up my own barbers, I would never be in a situation that I was in before when all of the barbers left and I had to put signs in the window, barbers wanted,
Right.
and all those things. But I could always have a pool of barbers, just like McDonald's. People fill out them applications, they got
Yeah.
a pool that they can go through. Up,
Yeah.
that person quit. Let me plug this person in. Oh, that person quit. Let me plug this person in. So if I can make this come to reality, you know what I mean, and train people to the point where they can just at least cut hair, you know what I mean, on a minimal basis, then I can put the system in that so I would never be in that situation where I'm
Right.
just like hungry for barbers. So hungry, I'm ready to
Right.
snatch somebody off the street and just bring
Yeah.
them in here. You like let anybody cut hair. And so the barber and boot camp actually, what I mean, really saved the whole program, saved everything because you being a part of it,
Oh
you know
yeah.
what I mean, and
Yeah.
everybody.
And I watched the progression.
Right. You watched it, yeah, because you was there,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, when we was coming
I was
back and
early
everything.
on.
Yeah, you was there when we was
What I was
coming
like the
back.
second class.
You was like the second class that was
Okay.
coming in. So you was
Yeah.
there and watched everything as we was
Yeah.
rebuilding. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And so it wasn't easy. You know what I'm saying? We had some hard times. We
Nah.
had some little things that happened in the midst of all of that stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? But we kept pushing through, and we got through. I ain't been perfect. Things ain't been perfect, but we work hard and dedicate, and just with dedication,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Build it as you go.
Yeah, build it as you go. And that's why, what I mean? Like, nobody can tell me, what I mean? Like, you out of it. You ain't got a chance. You ain't got
Right.
this. Like, no. If you believe in your heart, you know what I'm saying? If you believe, like the Matrix say, like that you the chosen one, that what I mean, that nah, I'm gonna do this. Just when I used to do lectures,
Spirit is strong.
Spirit is strong, definitely strong.
Yeah.
I would set up a whole event. Dick Gregory. I would set the whole event. I had the place. I had brother Dick Gregory, and I had everything else lined up. The whole event.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, all right, how am I gonna pay for this?
Right.
I set the whole event up. I didn't have no money, didn't have a dime to do it. But it never mattered because I knew, like, okay, how am I gonna pay for this? Okay, let me get busy. Let me call such and such.
What they call it, acting as if.
Yeah,
Yeah. Where, like, even Dr. King say, like, if you might only see one step, but you just take that step.
Yeah.
And then eventually, when you take that step, you'll see another one and another one. And a lot of times, we look at what they say. We look at success like a highway full of green lights.
Yeah.
We think all of the lights supposed to be green before you can take off, and you never get nowhere like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's what it's all about, man. So I'm not a person that that talk that gloom and doom stuff. About what we can't do and all of that kind of stuff. What I'm saying. I mean, I got my challenges, but when I'm locked like a pit bull, it's on and popping.
Yeah, and that's life though. Challenges. Yeah. It's the ebb and flow. Sometimes you up, sometimes you down, but you keep going, and then when it's all said and done, you way further than where you were. And if nothing else, you got the experience and the knowledge to pass on to the next generation, so they can avoid some of those pitfalls. So sometimes you know what they call it, you the first one over the hill, and you come back with the arrows in your back.
Yeah.
But at least you letting people know what's over the other side.
Yeah. No doubt.
But, so let's talk about this bill. We got passed or whatever. For the barbers.
Yeah. So as as we had the barber in boot camp, and brother Ricardo was with me as we actually did this, and so we got a whole lot. I would go to these meetings, and everybody be fussing like, "Man, why can't we have more than one barber? That's crazy!" Blah 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 blah. And they be in there kicking the doors down and doing all kinds of stuff. And one day I just raised my hand. I said, "So what can we do to actually change that? Is there anything that we can do?" And they said, "Well, that's something that happens down in Annapolis. You got to go to Annapolis for that." I'm like, say no more. I had a brother Davon Love, who was my client, and I came in that day. He's into politics very heavy. And I'm like, shout out. And I'm like, bro, what do I need to do to get this law changed? I'm trying to get, get more barbers because I only could do my only thing, I only could do one at a time. And so that was stopping me from being able to bring people on. Right. So he said, man, that should be something easy though. He told me to contact Sister Delicate Cheryl Glenn at the time. So we started going with her. So I thought it was gonna be something hard. I'm like, man, it's gonna take years and it's gonna take a lot of money. How are we gonna do this? Like, no, man, it ain't that. You just contact your delegate and put, and get the bill put in. And she put the bill in. House Bill 1021. My mama's birthday. You know what I'm saying? Which I thought, I was like, oh, mom, you ain't gonna believe what this bill is. 1021. She's like, I can't believe that. Put it in. We put the bill in, but some of the wording was wrong, and the state board didn't reckon. It was like, no, they was telling me what the bill meant, and I'm like, no, I'm not want to put it. And so she had went through some personal problems during the time, so she wasn't able to go and file and make sure that it went through correctly. So we couldn't do it then. Next year we go back, we put it through brother Kurt Anderson, and then it became House Bill 1041. Put it on the table. Now during that time, that's when COVID kicked in and boom, knocked every bill off the table. Nope, not that year again. You know what I mean? So then Delegate Stephanie Smith the following year will put the bill back in, and it became House Bill 1317 during the time. House Bill 1317, and we had the wording right, and sure enough, the bill got passed, and the bill went in effect October 2000, October 21. Yep. So again, that's 1021, my mama's birthday. You know what I'm saying? So all that numerology and energy all around there. You know what I mean? So the bill went in effect 1021, and from the original 1021 bill. So yeah, man. So we got a bill change. So now you can have not just one apprentice barber, but you can have 3 apprentice barbers to 1 master barber now. So you can have, you know what I mean? So we got that. We did that for the whole state of Maryland, man. We did that for the whole state of Maryland. So y'all take advantage of that and teach these people, teach these young boys out here, the young boys and these young girls, because now it's set up. So you ain't got to go complaining, because you could take 3 at a time now.
3 at a time.
Thank you. You're welcome. Yeah.
Tell me about some other successes you done had,
Yeah. Man, I mean, man, I done trained more. I mean, and I say this, and I don't like to pat myself on the back, but I've trained more barbers in the state of Maryland under apprenticeship than anybody has, under the apprenticeship logo. I got 3 master barbers underneath of me. That's epic, right now. And